Hi guys, it's Maddie from Social Soda, and today we're going to be talking about the transition from sixth form to university, going from a very structured lifestyle maybe in sixth form to something which is structureless, and how we can counter feelings of stress around that. So the sixth form that I was at was a pretty academically intense one. So I would wake up every morning probably about 7:30 to take the train into, actually that's such a lie, I was a bit lazier than that. I'd probably wake up about 8 to get the to get like the 8:15 train. So my mornings were awful because I'd just be running around trying to eat breakfast and pack my bag in 15 minutes. But I would have to get the train in for about 8:30, which was hell. And then I'd have a full day at school, maybe even longer, because a lot of my frees were spent doing work, because it was a very intense sixth forms go to. There was a lot of academic pressure. And then after school I was often singing or playing violin because I was quite big in music, or I was swimming because that was yet another thing on my list. So usually I would get home maybe about 6 or 7 p.m. in the evening, and that was almost every day. It was really hard and quite exhausting. However, it was also good for me in the sense that it was structure and I understood structure. It's something which I still like, and it's something which I work well in. So I managed to get a lot of work done because I sort of had this very rigid timetable, which meant that I could work within my frees. I knew when I could work. It was useful, I think that academic pressure is awful, and I don't think that 16, 17, 8-year-olds should be subjected to the level of pressure that they are in sixth form. But I also think that it's something that, if you've got a brain like me, does work, and it does mean that you do work. Compare that to when I rolled up to UCL. I get about 8 hours of contact time a week, and the rest of that time is meant to be spent working. For me, this was really, really hard at the start of university. I found it really difficult to attempt to balance social life with work, especially when my work was just me sitting in the library reading or writing essays. I think the experience of having to manage your own time is one which actually means that you do a lot of procrastination, because you come from somewhere where your time is managed to like the minute to somewhere where you are completely free, which is liberating and really nice, because it means that you can spend an afternoon going to an art gallery instead of in kind of like a rigidly structured place. But I think it also means that working can be difficult sometimes, and it can be hard to actually get your head down, but just stressful if you really care about your grades at the end of the year, because if you're not working, it might be a little bit difficult to get the good grades that you want. So I'll personally just say I think that if you can, you should try and get as much work done as you can every day. But this isn't going to be a video where I say how you can force yourself or chain yourself to the desk for 10 hours every day. This isn't going to be a video where I say, you should be spending 7 hours in the library every day, or this is how to ignore your needs or ignore like the signals of tiredness that your brain is sending you, to tell you not to take breaks and just to constantly work, because that's not the way that my brain works. So often, I will have whole days when I don't do any work, and I'll have whole days when I do lots of work. Instead, this is going to be a video where I discuss some things which have helped me to work and have helped me to find structure in a degree which you might feel yourself floundering in.
So a really important question is how to effectively engage with your readings without spending hours on them. When I first started uni, I would spend genuinely about 7 hours per reading, just copying everything, all the reading, into a Word document. And not only is that not effective, but it means that you actually don't engage with the reading because you're not picking things up, you're not paying attention, you're just typing. So instead I use Adobe Acrobat Reader, which is free, and I just go through and I read, and then I make a summary at the top of all of the key points which I have made sure to engage with when I'm highlighting. I just write an overall summary, and that means I can come back to the reading. Always, I save this onto my files. I can come back to it later on, and I have my key points, but I haven't spent 8 or 9 hours on it. Sometimes a reading might be important enough, say for an essay, for you to actually make notes on it. The way that I do this to be effective is I first of all read through the entire thing, just highlighting and underlining on my PDF reader. Then I make notes of the thesis, and then as you can see, I'm splitting this reading into themes, and this means that I can just really quickly go back, if I'm writing my essay and just look at the theme. Finally, a way which I personally help myself is I will timetable myself work. And as you can see, I've split it into lectures, which I didn't take notes on because I now remember them all, but helpful at the start of the year, uni work, social, and anything for my job. And I'll do this about a month or 2 months in advance, just so I can make sure that I'm not overburdening myself with work, but also that I will have time to get everything done so that I'm not stressing that I don't have enough time.
I think that once you enter first year of university, you begin the process of walking this pretty fine line between trying to make sure that you actually study hard enough to engage with your degree, because you are paying money for your degree, and hopefully it's a subject which you enjoy, so you want to spend time on it. You walk this line between spending time on your degree and spending time exploring yourself and exploring the city. And I would say that, I've shown a couple of techniques that you can use, or at least that I used, and you can give a shot and see if they work for you as well, to organise your time and structure your time so that you get enough work done. I think that, especially if you're in first year though, you should really make sure that you spend enough time as well exploring yourself and exploring your identity, because not to put pressure on you, but I think that university is really a time for that. It's kind of one of the only experiences or times in your life maybe that you'll have to be a young person in a city, maybe working, maybe doing a part-time job, but not having to work full-time. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. And I think being a young person is an amazing thing, and being able to explore and experience and create things. And you don't get to do that, and you don't get to have a look around. You won't be able to look around London if you're constantly chained to a desk. So I'd say use first year as a chance to play with these techniques, and as a chance to figure out how much work you need to do to get, say, a 2-1 in an essay, or how to get a first in an essay. Spend that time figuring out study techniques, also techniques of how to write an essay, so you can kind of prep yourself for second year, and so you're not just starting second year having done no work, which is not a good position to be in, but also so that you start second year feeling that you are at home in the city, feeling that you're at home in yourself, hopefully, as well.